Hey guys, welcome back. We've got a Sunbeam Mixmaster 18B here that was sent in by Linda, and aside from having a general maintenance done on it, she had a list of things that we addressed in this. Now this one is already done. I forgot to do an intro to the video, so this will be the intro introducing you to this mixer here. A couple of things that she wanted to address was the ejector. When you ejected it, it didn't come back up by itself, and she said her dad had made a new spring for it at some point, so the spring that was in there unfortunately wasn't spring steel, it was just a steel wire, so when it bends it stays in that position and then you can unbend it and it'll go back. Where spring steel, you bend it, let go, and it snaps back into place. So we got a proper spring in there from the parts bin. The beaters, she said the beaters come out too easily. They don't fall out while she's using it, but in checking this, I mean, they do pull out, but it takes some effort to pull out, and that's typical for these. You can always grab any of these Mixmasters, and you can grab the beaters and pull them out if you want to. It's just easier to, sometimes you just use a handle, especially if the beaters are covered with batter or whatever. You just crank the handle and the beaters fall out. The resistor on there, she wanted to look at, all the coating had come off on it, and she wanted to know if that was okay. So when I looked at it, every speck of coating was off of it, and you'll see that in the video. So we ended up rebuilding that resistor and putting it back in there. When we checked it, the coating being off isn't an issue, but when we checked it with the multimeter, it was only 120, like 124, 128 ohms, so it was way too low, on the resistance range. So we got something proper in there now. And other than that, we went through, we got everything cleaned up and the maintenance done, new grease, all that. And you'll see that in the video here. So go ahead and enjoy the video, and we'll touch base at the end. So I'm going to pop this on a stand here, which obviously doesn't go with it, just to make it easier to work on. Raise you guys up a bit here so you can see what's going on. And now I just got to dig up a cord for this, and we're going to plug this in and verify that everything works on. Alright, got a cord dug up here. Alright, seems to run good, motor-wise anyways. I'm sure this thing needs a really good cleaning. So I'm going to get this unplugged, and we're going to start disassembling this here and get it all fixed up. I shouldn't say fixed up because it really doesn't need to be fixed, but we'll get our maintenance done on it here just to keep this thing running good. And we get a look at, what the internal parts look like on here as well. See, it's like grungy, which actually it's not. If you look in there, it's pretty clean. Alright, I see the front badge is missing on here, so that's one step we can skip, is removing that front badge. And all these parts actually look quite clean. Try and keep this turned in a way where you guys can see a little better. Alright, with the top cover off, get the screws out. Inside the top cover is nice and clean, and so is inside of here. This is really clean in here. If you look at the brush here, this brush holder looks like it's a bit cocked, so we'll have to set that straight when we tighten that down. There's very little flour in here, So that's a good sign as well. Let's get the ejector and everything out of here. So I should start with this. I dig up my 1/4-inch socket. Alright, get a little plate off the bottom here. Now we can take our... Oh, that's weird. This has got like an interesting looking spring on it. I don't believe that's factory setup. Oh, maybe that's spring, so it was... As a matter of fact, it's not even a spring. It's just a piece of wire that was put in there. So we're going to replace that with the spring. I believe in my parts I may have a spring for a proper spring for that we can replace that with. Alright. So let's go back to a view you guys can see. Fortunately, I got some parts for these set aside. There was a time, I used to be able to find these things, for like $5, sometimes $10, $15 for these and other machines around, and I would just pick them up as I found them, whether they worked or not, and came in handy for parts. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm really getting down low on parts, and it's going to be tough because I noticed the popularity of all these machines has gone up quite a bit, and so therefore the demand is higher, and therefore the price goes up on them. So it's kind of hard to find decent, donor machines for just a few bucks anymore. Alright, let's take a look at our grease in here, which is probably not the best, but we'll find out. Yeah, it's kind of thick, but it's not as bad as some that we've seen, even in these models here. But yeah, it can definitely stand to be replaced. Alright, so now let me take these brush holders off. We're going to pull our motor assembly out of here. And the brushes are like brand new. Alright, so we got our brush holders off. Now I just got to make sure you guys can see here. Alright, I got to take the speed control assembly off of here. And I can pull the wires off of it. I could probably pull like this wire off now. These over here are a little tricky to get to with the fan in the way. Alright. So I know a lot of people have been asking as well about, when can they send some work in, and like I said, I'm still trying to get caught up. I've got probably about 4 or 5 machines in here left to do. They go a lot slower now in the wintertime too, because I go out to sandblast or powder coat, and it's kind of hard to do when all my air hoses are frozen stiff, and I've got ice in the compressor, and it just makes it for a tough time to get everything ready. I mean, it takes me as much time to get everything set up out there and ready to go, you know, get some heat out there and everything. Sometimes it takes as much time as it does to get, you know, something sandblasted and powder coated, so there's always a delay on that too. So I'm trying to really limit how much I do this winter. I do plan on at some point being able to take new projects again, but I'm going to try and keep it pretty slow over the winter time. I got to find my multimeter here. Let me go find that. I'll be right back. Alright, so I want to test this resistor here and see what kind of condition it's in. Set this up where you guys can actually see. There you go. All the white coating is flaked off of here. And according to this resistor's reading low. That should be around 170, 180, 180 ideally. We're at 126. Let me just verify my equipment here. Alright, yeah, equipment's fine. The resistor's reading a bit low. And the coating is coming off of there, but that's really not what makes these things go bad. As you can see, there's no coating left down there. And as I said, that's really not what makes these things go bad. This resistor wire over time will just start to wear out, I think, you know, and change the readings on there. As far as what to recoat these with, you know, a couple people have asked that too, and I'm not really sure, you know, what would hold up over long term and not flake off like these do. I would think something ceramic. I'm just not sure what a product would be, you know, ideally suited for that. Alright, well, might as well go ahead and get the rest of this motor assembly out of here. Okay, so I think we're ready to lift this thing out of here as soon as we take off these last two screws. And these are the ones that secure the coil to the housing down here. Alright, so with those out of the way, we can lift this entire assembly out. There we have it. That's the entire motor assembly right there. Now you can see we can pull the armature right out of here, you know, to get that cleaned up. Just going to set that aside for now. Get a little dust shield out. Pretty much all we got left to disassemble on here is the gearbox. So I'm going to go through and yeah, you guys are still in view here. I'm going to go through and pop these little caps off of there. Let me check how these turn on at it. Yeah, they seem to turn alright. That's a good sign. These things are a bear to get off of here. Basically, you got these little tabs on here to grip into the shaft. You basically just got to relieve the tension on them. Just like that. Just work your way around. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but relieve the tension and you get closer to the end, so you just work your way around. You gotta be careful, you don't want to break it or bend it. And there's also a wick in there, you don't want to tear that up either, and it's not really a wick for lubrication, it's more like a wick to catch lubrication if, you know, the grease breaks down or it's excessively oiled or whatever. It's designed to catch it and keep it from running down your beaters into your food. And it actually does a pretty good job because they're usually quite dry. You know, you don't pull them out of here all greasy, so that means that the grease pretty much stays in the machine like it's supposed to, unlike some of the KitchenAids. You know, with that grease that they use, that stuff eventually just runs out everywhere. And sometimes these things can really be on there. Just, you know, just gotta stay at it. There you go. And once you get it popped off, you can see there's the wick I was talking about. And there's that cap, and you can see these little teeth on here that grip those. What you gotta, you know, break tension on. And there's that wick that wick basically sits here, and it just catches. And you can see it's dry. I mean, it's not really greasy at all. I mean, it's got a little bit of staining on it, but it's not like you take it out and it's soaked. Alright, so I'm going to go through and we get this other one off. I gotta turn this because I can't see from that angle. There, we're getting there. A little closer every time we go around. Like I say, you don't want to force them off because this is like spring steel. It will break if you push it too hard. So just baby steps on it. There we go. I got a cap and wick off. And those wicks, we can clean those up so that they're not as grungy looking. And now we can pull our shafts out here, and you can see there's some stuff on here that needs to be cleaned off. So these will be polished up. We're going to degreased and polished up, looking decent. Yeah, and this one's got some boogers on it too. Like I say, we can get those cleaned up. Alright, so I'm going to get the rest of the grease out of the inside of here and pull these two oil wicks out. Pull these two oil wicks out now. And I guarantee you these are going to be bone dry. After this many years, they just dry up. That's the front oil wick right there. And it's just a round piece of felt. And they soak them with oil, and that's what keeps your bushing lubricated. And there we have the other one, the rear one, which is always a bigger one. Alright, so we get the rest of the grease out of here and get this all cleaned up, and we'll get our parts polished up and cleaned up, ready to put back together. We'll come back and get her together. So we got disassembly done on here. We got the reassembly finished on here, and as you see, this was part of that spring. I just cut that, spring, or this piece of wire. As you see, it's not a spring. You bend it back. It doesn't snap back. So, yeah, that was replaced along with everything else in here. We rebuilt the resistor on here, so we got a 180 ohm resistor in here. We checked out the beaters, and they eject fine. There's no issue. I mean, you can grab on any of these Mixmasters. You can grab these beaters and pull them out. So the fact that you can pull them out isn't an issue. They do fit in there nice and secure. So that's a good thing. We did not have a chrome cap for the back here, so we're not going to be able to supply that. And on the front here, she does have the badge that goes on her that she's going to re-glue back on. Like I said, when you see the video, you see the dirt in here and stuff, but or the lack of dirt, I should say. And I comment on that. I had forgot all the details on the note that she sent with it, but she had actually taken this apart at one point and cleaned it all out. So she did an excellent job cleaning it, which made it look like it was, wasn't really used all that much. And once I got the motor assembly out, you can see on the bottom there was some dirt and stuff in there. But other than that, it wasn't used a whole lot. The brushes were still excellent. There was no wear on the armature at all. So we got everything lubed up, greased up, rebuilt the resistor on there, put a new proper spring in there. So all that's left to do now is fire this thing up and give it a listen to. Alright, so you see we got all our ranges from 1 through 12 dialed in there. On 12, this thing really whips. I mean, it's like a fan blowing out the back here. But yeah, those beaters get really whipping around there on 12. The ejector, as you see, we eject the beaters out. And when we bring the handle back upright, the ejector returns. So yeah, we're in pretty good shape here. This one's wrapped now. We're going to wipe it down one more time, and we're going to get on back to Linda. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll get back to those as soon as I can. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.